Hello, ancients and anti-heroes. My name is TB Skyn, and welcome back to Final Fantasy VII, where Aerith is gone. She's gone off on her own to try and do something about Sephiroth and his plan to summon Meteor. Cloud, meanwhile, has had himself a little bit of an existential crisis and isn't quite sure what he wants to do with himself at all. Now, he has talked himself out of it, and we are about to set off on our quest to find the capital city of the Ancients, which is somewhere in the world past a place called the Sleeping Forest. Fortunately, we already know where that is. Now, at this point in the game, there's a few different things that you can do. For example, there is another Fort Condor battle, but we're not really going to bother with that. We are going to be going north, I hope. If I can find my way there. It's a little bit hard when you can only go through the shallows. Can't wait to get a better boat. Okay, so we have to go west and then cross through the continent, I guess. Alright. But yeah, as I said many times during the previous episode, shit has decisively gotten real at this point. And we have seen, I think, some of the scenes that showcase why Cloud Strife, at least to me, is one of the greatest JRPG protagonists of all time, if not the greatest JRPG protagonist of all time. Because a lot of JRPG protagonists have a tendency to fall into, like, a mold of, you know, your classic shonen protagonist, basically, like, enthusiastic and, like, head full of justice. Yeah, I'm gonna do the right thing, and I'm adventurous, and I'm kind, and I'm the good guy who's gonna save the people and do the thing. They tend to fall into that. And then there's, like, silent protagonists like Chrono from Chrono Trigger, who's just mute and was a complete blank slate, basically. A lot of them are basically designed to be fairly generic and undefined, so that the audience, the players themselves, often presumed male, young players, can project themselves onto those characters. And there's nothing wrong with that, particularly. Chrono Trigger still is one of the greatest JRPGs of all time, period. But Cloud is a different kind of hero, especially compared to previous Final Fantasy protagonists. Final Fantasy VI was an ensemble piece, so there wasn't really any clear protagonist in that one. But you think about Final Fantasy V or Final Fantasy IV, and the protagonists of those two games, and you get that fairly nondescript, blank slate, generic story kind of thing, where there really isn't there's not a lot of psychological specificity to any of them. Cloud is a different breed of hero. He's a different shade of beast. There's a lot of extreme psychological specificity to him, and to how he feels, and how he deals with things. Okay, do I want to change any weapons? Nope. Cool. So then, now that levels have evened out across my party a little bit more, except for Yuffie and Kate Sith, I think it's time that we finally take Vincent and Sid into battle for once. Let's see. Yeah, then Vincent can have the ribbon, and Sid, who sucks, but who's the interesting combat character, because he's basically the Dragoon of this game. Let's see. Let's do the peace ring. Not that it matters that much. Cloud has a high degree of psychological specificity, like really he is very much a character of his own. And that's something that I feel like is a little bit of something that's kind of happened in the media surrounding Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy VII, is that Cloud has sort of been reduced, both in his appearances in the Kingdom Hearts games, and in subsequent Final Fantasy VII media, like Final Fantasy Advent Children, or what's that other thing? Whatever. And I feel like I worry also in the remake, he's been made somewhat more of that generic sad boy protagonist. Like, just someone who's sort of generically sad and angry and vulnerable and has trouble expressing himself without the complexity that does underlie him in this game. Because there is a lot of complexity there, and as we shall see, as we get closer to a resolution to his particular storyline. Manipulate... Actually, I should put those in individual slots. Because Cloud is like, he's one of the first JRPG protagonists who's really, really not like any other character. Like, there's a very, very specific story to him. And there's a very specific story behind the things that he does and the things that happen to him. Let's see, I want Bahamut. But I can be fine without the rest of them. Let's see, all. Store. Guess you should always have that on these two. And added effect. Transform. Will I need that in the city? Yeah, I don't think so. So we'll do this instead. Bahamut with mana absorb. That's important. We've got restore and poison, and we'll put time magic on him as well. And gravity. Yeah. And now we come to Sid. Well, there's no point doing that up there. Might as well give him luck plus, why not? And Kujata, Ramu, Ifrit, Shiva. He's gonna be the Dragoon, he might as well be the Summoner as well. Sense, Steel, Earth. Revive, I want to level those up. And we give him Lightning, Ice, Fire. Yeah, I think that'll work. But yeah, that's like, as I've said, Cloud Strife is... And it took me a long time to come to appreciate that, to be honest. After, I've always wondered why there's a jet plane crashed here on top of a skull of a giant dragon. It sort of implies that there was some great battle in the past against this giant dragon monster, and it was buried along with the jet fighter. What was I saying? I don't know. Let's start with, let's see. Do I need any high potions? No, I'm fine. I could take a couple of ethers just in case. And that'll be that. So, a lunar harp sleeps here underground. We could excavate it for you if you like. We can excavate other things, too. What are you after? Just the lunar harp. Alright, I'll lend you some of my stuff. Show them where you want to dig. Okay. So the thing I need to do here, we're basically triangulating. So I'm putting staff in various positions on the map here, or in the area. And then once I'm ready, they'll detonate a small explosion, which is going to cause shockwaves. And they'll all take readings, and they will look in the direction of the buried item. And you kind of have to... order them to dig where it seems like something might be, and hope that something comes out of it. There we go. Lunar Harp. Excellent. There's also, of course, other things that you can dig for. But I'm just gonna consult a guide here to make sure that... Yeah, okay. Right, because there's one very specific item that you can dig for at one point in the game that that does something special that you might want. But I don't think we can find that yet, unless I missed my guess. So I'm gonna dig for a few other items before we proceed. Well, I'm digging specifically for one item. Okay, somewhere down here. So that would be right around here, I think. Not what I was looking for. Hang on, I'm gonna look. This minigame is so obtuse, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check a guide on it, because I need to know which items are available right now. Just excuse me for a second. Because again, this is one of those things that's like, that's just kind of tedious. Right, okay. Good. So I'm looking, basically, there's a chart of the various locations where the staff can tell you to dig. Or rather, the various places where you're supposed to dig. Where you will actually get good stuff. Just to slow this down a little bit. Okay, now where? That looks like here to me. That's probably not going to be anything. Nope. So there's a weapon you can get for Vincent here, and that's the one I'm searching for. Specifically, that one weapon. Oh, no, that's a terrible idea. You need to be able to see them. Shit. I fucked that up a bit. Oh, well. Looks like I've got a chance. I think it's here, then. Now, the clever part of Bone Village, as well, is that it also serves as a repository of missed items. So, there are certain items over the course of the game that you can miss and not be able to get, and some of those will become available for digging in the Bone Village at certain points in the game so that you can get them even if you missed them the first time around. And that's stuff like really important materia. And, you know, key items and things like that. Yeah, I just wanted you to point at the place I want to dig. Oh, I see. Okay, if with a little bit of luck, that should be it. Yes, frickin' finally. And I promise you, this would have taken way longer if I hadn't spent the time to look at that chart. There we go. There we go. All right, now we're moving. We have the Lunar Harp. That was the key item that we needed to dig up. Because that will allow us to pass through this place. Sleeping Forest awoke. Without the Lunar Harp, we would just endlessly be sent back to this screen over and over again with no way of proceeding. But now we're heading to the City of the Ancients, which has a truly excellent aesthetic, which you're already beginning to see now. Let's see, watering is absorb water damage, yeah. It's a coral reef, which is just such a cool-ass aesthetic. Oh, the bastards caused dark on everybody. They also set slow? Jesus. Ah, here you get to see Vincent's limit breaks. He basically transforms for a good long duration of the fight. And he becomes completely uncontrollable, but all of his attacks just do an absolute crap ton of damage. I believe he also becomes immune to status changes. But yeah, that's Vincent's limit breaks. He has 4 different forms that he can transform into. So unlike most other characters, he doesn't have 2 limit breaks per level. He only has 1. And that's his transformation. Ba 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 ba. And actually, come to think of it, I want to set the protect materia on Sid right now. Specifically because I want him to be taking hits. And building up his limit gauge, because he only has limit break level 1 right now, and I kind of want to get him a little bit further up than that. Not that I plan to use Sid very much, but there is going to be a point in the game where I have to use him. Welcome to the city of the ancients. Look how cool this place looks. Isn't this just the coolest shit? It's a giant coral reef. How cool of an idea is that for a city for an ancient civilization? Just saying. Right. Upstairs. Gimme. Thank you. Look at this whole ass place. Like, look at the aesthetic. Look at the ways they've thought it through. And all the ways they've designed it. Aurora bracelet. That's an armor, isn't it? Oh, yes. And a powerful one at that. Albeit with not that many material slots. Who can afford to lose a slot? Vincent can. I think you can't move back there, no. There isn't anything else. There is something. No, okay, that's up on the bridge up there. I thought there would be combat encounters here, but I guess I remembered wrong. But yeah, this is just... And again, the thing that impresses me is that all of this... They did this, they modeled all of this with 1990s 3D technology. That was all they had available to do all of this. So just the sheer amount of time that must have gone into designing things like this. This conch house is mind-boggling to me. Completely mind-boggling. Because all of this had to be modeled. It all had to be sculpted. It's not like today where you can go on an asset store and download like a million different model versions of something and then work those into your own original thing. Have ancients actually slept in these, I wonder? I'm beat. Why don't we get some shut-eye? Sure, why not? Why not? You're supposed to do this, by the way. I can feel it. A problem. Aerith is here. So is Sephiroth. If you're correct, we are in great danger. But how'd you know that? I'm not making it up. I really can feel their presence deep down inside of me. Then we must make haste. There are no second chances. Yeah, let's go find her. La, 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 la. Oh, did I fuck up? Should I not have done that yet? Well, I can come back to the City of Ancients if I need to. I believe that music track is called Anxious Heart, if I'm not much mistaken. And it's also Aerith's voice. It came from over there. It's also a track that you may remember is associated with Midgar. And specifically, it's associated with the slums in Midgar. So there's a nostalgia to this music playing right now. It reminds you of, not necessarily happier times, but it reminds you of when and how you met Aerith for the first time. Let's see. I don't think I can do anything with this yet, right? No. And also, speaking of, like, impressive for the time and with the assets available, listen to the strings in this track. And now the woodwind. All of this is MIDI. Like, Nobuo Uematsu was working exclusively with 1990s level MIDI technology, which wasn't terrible at the time, but, like, there was only so many samples he could add, like, so high quality samples he could actually get his hands on. Hey, sorry, I ran into some tech as has happened before, my recording cut out, and I played through a bunch of the next bit of the game without actually recording any of it, which is a bit of a troublesome thing. So I had to reload a save, and I also made some changes to my party because I remembered a few things about or rather, I went ahead and saw a few things that are gonna happen next, and I remembered that there's actually some specific changes that I wanted to make to my party before that. But anyway, let's go and find Aerith. So you can go here before the nighttime scene begins, but if you do, you won't find this staircase right here. And there's a materia up there that I've already grabbed, but you won't find this glowing staircase here, which will take you down below the City of the Ancients to, to an important moment. And again, the aesthetic of this place is absolutely magnificent. Even if what's about to happen here isn't so much. Aerith? No, not down, Cloud. Up. Well, we found her. So, I tried to talk to Aerith, and now if I press any of the directional buttons, Cloud does this, and if I press the cancel button, he does this. But if I keep pressing the talk button, he does this. And I can keep resisting if I want. But ultimately... Cloud! Cloud, don't! What are you making me do? That was the materia, by the way, that Aerith's mother gave her. Aerith? This can't be real. Do not worry. She will soon be part of the planet's energy. This diversion is at an end. All that remains is to head north. The promised land awaits me over snowy fields. There I shall be born anew by becoming one with the planet. At that time, the girl— Shut up! The cycle of nature and your stupid plan don't mean a thing. Aerith is gone. Aerith will no longer talk, will no longer laugh, or cry, or get angry. What about us? What are we supposed to do? What about our pain? My fingers are trembling. My mouth is dry. My eyes are burning. What are you trying to say? That you have feelings? Of course I do. Spare me your grief. And you needn't pretend that you're shaking with anger either. Because, Cloud, you are... This boss is called Genova Life. Because I guess Sephiroth is very fond of irony. And let's have a sense. So technically the smartest play right now is actually to use Mighty Guard, because that protects me against pretty much everything that Genova can do. But I'm not going to do that because it also trivializes the fight a little bit, and I don't want that. I want this to be hard. Or at least I want me to work for it. Much like the Demon Wall, Genova here is a boss who can, quite frankly, wipe the floor with your party if you're not ready for her. Fortunately, I have some pretty powerful summons. Let's see. De-barrier her. She's got... has Reflect on, which is a bit of a problem. So I brought a magic called De-barrier, which specifically exists to get rid of... I'm just gonna cure everybody. Of Reflect and Protect and skills like that. Because, Genova has Aqualung. She has that enemy skill. And it hits pretty hard. To the point where I think even though I have actually healed Tifa pretty substantially, it will kill her in one hit if Genova uses it. Fortunately, Genova seems to be playing extremely nice with me. And I think Barrett's next auto attack is actually going to kill her. Yes! Okay. I'm not kidding. If Genova had used Aqualung, she might have wiped out both Tifa and Barrett in one hit. But I got very lucky with her AI, I guess. Because you are a puppet Notice that it was Genova finishing Sephiroth's sentence there. I'm a puppet? Everyone, listen. I'm Cloud, ex-soldier, born in Nibelheim. I came here to settle things with Sephiroth. What's the matter? I came here out of my own free will. Or so I thought, but to tell you the truth, I'm afraid of myself. There's a part of me that I don't understand. It made me give the black materia to Sephiroth. If he hadn't stopped me, I might have... Aerith... There's someone inside me. Someone who's not really me. That's why I've thought about quitting the journey. Because I might do something terrible. But I've decided to carry on. He burned down my hometown 5 years ago. He killed Aerith. And now he wants to destroy the planet. Sephiroth. I can never forgive him. I must go on. I have a favor to ask. Will you all come with me? I want you to keep an eye on me. Make sure I don't try anything funny. Come on, man. I don't know how Aerith planned to stop Meteor. I guess now we'll never know. But we still have a chance. We've got to get the black materia from Sephiroth before he can use it. Let's go. And that is the end of Disc 1. Not the place where I thought it ended last episode. Yeah. So let's just take a second to talk about what just happened. So this is one of the most iconic scenes in Final Fantasy history, and certainly the most iconic scene in Final Fantasy VII. Ooh, wait, I think there's an item in here that I forgot. Is it here? No. Somewhere else. And it is that for a good reason. Like, it's not the first time that RPGs have had death scenes in them, like characters who die. Which way did he go? Hey, you okay? Yeah. Sephiroth, he told me to head north beyond the snowfields. So I guess that's where we're going. It's one of the most iconic scenes in Final Fantasy because even though there have been death scenes in RPGs before, this wasn't just that. Like, this wasn't like some sprite. There we go. That like that gets hit with some slash effect and then it kind of blinks and disappears. This was the advent of 3D cutscenes as cinematic storytelling. And you are shown in no uncertain terms what happens to Aerith, not with blood and gore and guts spilling all over, but she dies right in front of you while you are powerless to do anything about it. Like, and there hadn't been anything else in JRPGs and in gaming, really, that was quite like it. Especially since it's a scene that is played very strongly for emotion. Again, which is one of the things that makes Final Fantasy VII unique, is that it plays so hard on emotion. Like, Cloud's reaction to Aerith's death wasn't like nothing. It was pretty emotionally intense, which I tried to do my best to get across with my limited voice acting skills. I don't remember if there's anything you can do here. I don't think so. Like, it's a very intense scene, and Cloud's reaction to it is very intense. And, like, it's not uncommon to hear from like, people of my generation of gamers that this was, like, the first time that a video game made us cry. Like, normally it's like, yay, video games, fun, anime battles, woohoo, spells and stuff, and then this shit happens and hits you like a rocket punch to the gut, you know, because this is a character in your party who was in your party, not just one of those temporary characters, like where sometimes in JRPGs you get like a temporary guest character who joins you and who's super overpowered. Leo, for example, from Final Fantasy VI, which we played previously on the channel. This is like a party member who's been with you for the whole entire goddamn game. You still can't do anything here? For the whole entire game. And who was an important and integral part of your party and had this whole storyline and everything, and then it's cut off. Just like that. And that's the other thing, is like, Aerith doesn't get like an extended struggle or anything. It's not like she's kidnapped by the villain and held hostage and then you fail a rescue attempt or something. It's she's sitting there, and then Sephiroth is there, and then she's dead. It's very sudden, and it's rather brutal. And even though, like, cutscenes like that don't do much for gamers nowadays. Like, we're used to it. We've seen stuff like that in a billion other video games. A lot of video games which are trying to imitate, by the way, what Final Fantasy VII pioneered. So, like, a lot of it isn't really that impressive, relatively speaking, anymore. I do not remember what that is. Oh, it's a spear. But this was the first time that something like that, like, really happened. Oh, right, that's the opposite of the adamant bangle. This one has enormous magic defense, but no physical defense whatsoever. There's the random encounters. Yeah, alright. So I set Barret up so that his physical attacks do earth damage, because that's what that Genova was weak to. But these little guys resist earth damage. And they also have an absolute metric crap ton of HP, by the way. But yeah, this... It matters a lot more than people think nowadays. Like, part of the reappraisal of Final Fantasy VII that kind of happened over the years, where it's like, oh, everyone overhyped it. Everyone's like, oh, greatest RPG of all time, is kind of rolling their eyes a little bit at that. He's like, oh, God, you think that crappy basic thing was like, But the fact of the matter is, like, no one else had done this. Like, there wasn't another game that had really managed to try anything to the extent of this, and certainly not with the power of like that tries to evoke those extremely powerful emotions. I don't remember how to move on from here. I keep thinking you have to climb that conch, but I can't remember how to do it. Tifa isn't in the back row, right? No. And it's worth remembering that, like, every time you see one of those highly emotional slow-motion death scenes, there we go. In a JRPG, they owe something to Final Fantasy VII. But then what am I supposed to do here? Well, this is frustrating. And I'm not gonna lie, seeing that scene again, like, it's not like I got choked up or anything, but I wasn't unaffected. Especially when you're trying to when I was trying to voice act for Cloud, because like you do have to get into those emotions a little bit to do that, and like it's sort of a matter of empathy. That's the weakness of old CGI like that, is that it just can't really communicate emotional complexity, which is what we saw, like, when you looked at Cloud's face in that cutscene. It's like, during the CGI bits, it's not like he looked exactly devastated. His face wasn't doing very much. Neither was Aerith's, by the way. Neither was Sephiroth's. Because that tech just wasn't there yet. It didn't exist to make characters more expressive. But what am I supposed to do? Ugh. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, there it is. There it is. God, that was annoying. I believe these guys are weak to Aqua Breath. Think. I could be wrong. Oh, right, it's the climbing. Right. I remember this. Ooh, the Hypno Crown. That makes, the Manipulate materia that I've got, it makes it unblockable. So that it'll always work unless an enemy is specifically immune to it. Hey, minimum. It missed. If it hadn't missed, it would have turned Cloud tiny. There's the Magic Plus. Very powerful on mages. But yeah, next give it... I think I've gone... Because of the recording troubles, I've had trouble keeping track of how much time has gone into this episode so far. So I think in the next possible opportunity, I'm gonna save. And then we're gonna end this episode here. Making it a little extra long in honor of Aerith, I suppose. Hey, there we go. So when you're minimum, all your physical attacks do only 1 damage, but your magic attacks still work the same as they always do. Does he have Matron magic? No, just flamethrower then. How much health does that bastard have? And speaking of, I think I'm gonna shuffle a couple of materia pieces around. Because Tifa... Well, first of all, let's get rid of that. And that. And that, because she's desperately low on health. I'm gonna put Protect on her, and I'm gonna put HP Plus on her. And make her be a frontliner a little bit. Yeah. Also because that means she'll take more physical attacks, which means she'll get more of her, Limit Break. Limit Break is the word I'm looking for. I should use those soon. There we go. Finally out. We can save now. And we can end this episode here on a bit of a low note, to be quite honest. Not a high note, especially, but yeah, that was one of the most powerful and important scenes in Final Fantasy VII. Although there's one that happens later that I would say is a bit more powerful, at least to me personally. Anyway, if you've enjoyed hanging out in the world of Final Fantasy VII with me, and maybe this episode wasn't super enjoyable in the traditional sense, but, you know, still, then you can hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons, because those buttons make numbers go up, which is the only thing that really matters on YouTube. If you want to help me out more directly than that, then there's Patreon and tip jars down in the description, as well as merchandise store that you can avail yourself of if you are so inclined, and if not, that's completely okay. I'm just happy that you've been watching these videos so far. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back with more Final Fantasy VII in a couple of days.